I'll be doing the dishes very peacefully, like just enjoying my own company. And then these thoughts from like 10 years ago, bruh.
Welcome to Grown Ass Podcast, a podcast by Catherine, a grown ass woman, showing you the way around this world of grown ups. Just kidding. Don't you very wish there existed such a podcast by such a person? Lol, sorry to disappoint, it's just me, a young girl, Jonas in her mind, sharing her experience in this adulting journey. So, again, welcome to Grown Ass Podcast.
Hi guys, welcome back again to Jonas Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am really grateful whether you're watching on YouTube or you're tuning from the various podcast platforms. Thank you so much. I hope you're enjoying our content so far. I hope you are relating to various episodes and stories. I hope you learn something. And yeah, I just hope like this podcast makes life a little bit easier for you, or it helps you navigate something in your life. That's the goal. I hope it makes you a little bit happier. Anyway, in relation to last week's episode, I wanted to I thought of another version of cringiness, which is usually when I am doing the dishes, then these thoughts come. I'll be doing the dishes very peacefully, like just enjoying my own company. And then these thoughts from like 10 years ago, bruh.
Really, nigga?
And I'm just going to like stamp my feet or just throw this sponge qua sink.
Stop it. Get some help.
I'm just going to get so annoyed, and so I'm just going to feel very cringe about it. And so I had to like research about it
Another one.
again, because what is that? Something that happened 10 years ago, and up to now, it's still in my head. It's still sort of making my life miserable. What is this? I really want to understand. And so, after a lot of thinking and a lot of research, then I realized it's something. It was a cringe moment, or like an awkward or weird moment, which ought to be normal because it was probably a mistake, which is normal because it's human. Humans make mistakes all the time. Humans are weird, at least most of us. Like we have our weird sides. And so it must have been something that happened, this thing that happened in the past, and I have just not made peace with it. I need to forgive myself for this thing that I did years ago, for this decision that I made years ago. Sometimes it's even about the people that I have dated, the people that I've had a thing with, and I some things just keep replaying in my head, and this really judgy side of me that I'm really trying to kill. It's just going to be there, like, why did you do this? Or should have known better, blah blah blah. But I need to forgive myself for these things. I need to make peace with the fact that one, I am human, two, I'm going to make mistakes, and three, I am weird, and it needs to be okay for me to be weird. It needs to be okay for me to be myself, because some of these situations I was just being myself, I was just being the real me. When I begin to judge myself for being myself, what is that? And so, yeah, that is really what I want to talk about today. Like, how do we navigate through the past that is still making us cringe right now. Like when these thoughts pop up, just cringe. I just want the world to open up and just swallow me whole so that I can just disappear from the face of the earth. Which is why I said, like I said in the previous episode, that we need to accept ourselves for who we are, for being the people that we are, for being ourselves. We need to accept ourselves. We need to be okay with the people that we are. We need to be okay with our weird and our awkward sides, because that is the only way we can make the environment safe for us to be ourselves. That's the only way we can make the world safe for other people to be themselves. Because as soon as I forgive myself for being human, I forgive myself for the mistakes that I made, I can be able to give myself space to be truly who I am without the fear of me judging myself for being who I am. It's like I might remember of a time I tried to do something and I was so confident and so bold to try this new thing, and then I did not literally fail, but I did it in a manner that, looking at it right now, I think was probably not the best way, or it's not cool enough. And that just like sort of kills the child that is inside me, that wants to try new things, that wants to try different things, that wants to try. I'm going to be afraid to try in the future just because I know that the same version of me 10 years ago that tried this thing, I did not do it as perfectly as I wanted it to be, was judged for it. So I'm going to be afraid to do it again just because I'm afraid that I'm going to judge myself for it. It's crazy, man. Like, it's crazy because how the hell did we get here? And these are just some of the things that I think about. And we're human, guys. We're human, man. Like, can we just let ourselves be? In terms of like relationships or the people that we decided to be with in different stages of our lives, most of us, I am sure, um, look behind and they're just like, what the heck were you doing, Catherine? The heck, girl? I mean, but I usually, or not usually, I just began telling myself that that is the person that I was at that time. And I probably thought that that was the best decision to make. Or I knew better, but I was just afraid of making the right decision because I was probably afraid of being alone or being lonely, or I was maybe just escaping from something. So I stayed with the wrong people. I made horrible, terrible decisions. But I think that the sooner I can be able to forgive myself, I'm still working through it. I'm not completely forgiven myself. I'm still working through it. But I'm glad that there are some instances that used to cringe the hell out of me. Like, I used to curse out loud whenever I'd remember such things. It was usually at the worst moments, like when I'm just like deep inside my head and I'm around people, I'm just going to curse out of nowhere, and then you have to explain to these people that you're not cursing at them. It's just something in your head, something that you remembered. And so some of these things I can actually remember and not be angry, not feel cringe, well, feel a little bit cringy, but not feel angry at myself, but feel some love and some, yeah, feel love, like a lot of love for that version of me that didn't know any better, or decided to try new things and they're not afraid to try them, they're not afraid to fail. Just feel a lot of love for them. And yeah, usually in my head I'm usually like hugging myself for, yeah, and I'm just like happy that I was able to forgive those things. I think it takes time. I don't know, really, I'm not sure what process it takes, but for me it has been thinking, whenever those thoughts come to my head, instead of being angry, I'm going to take a really deep breath, think about that situation, think about the person that I was at that particular time. How was I feeling? How how was the environment around me? Just so that I can understand how it is that I came to make that decision. And really understanding that situation wholly, like not just looking at it at the end, not just looking at it from the final decision that you made, looking at it from where it began, or from how it began, how you got there. Then you can really begin to understand that person, that time, and you can begin to be, um, what is the word, empathetic to yourself, and then you can forgive yourself for these actions, and then you can truly begin to live free from the cringiness of the past, and then can truly begin to live in the now. You can truly begin to understand the now, enjoy the now, because you're no longer a prisoner of your past. You've forgiven it, you've forgiven yourself, you've accepted it. Yeah. And you accepted the fact that, sometimes we cringe and we think a lot about the past because we've not accepted the fact that it is the past and there's really nothing that you can do to change it. It's hard to know that, it's hard to be reminded of that, but it's a fact that we need to accept. We cannot save the us that is in the past. Like the thing already happened, right? It's giving up the hope that things would have been different. It's giving up the wish that things would have been different, and accepting the past for what it is, for what it has been, forgiving it, and then moving forward. I hope you guys understand. I hope you guys relate. And that's it on today's episode. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. I hope you related to something. Yeah. And I hope it makes adulting a little bit less hectic for you just by listening to this episode. I hope that you can begin to forgive your past. I hope that you can begin to forgive yourself. I hope that you can begin to accept the weird or the awkward that is within you. Yeah? Yeah, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for staying up to this point. I really do appreciate. And like, comment, share, subscribe, and yeah, like share with me what your journey has been, what you have forgiven yourself for, or what you look forward to forgiving yourself for. I hope that last statement makes sense. Yeah, thank you so much for listening, and I love you so much. Bye. You